Hey, you guys, it's Mindy Donham from Avondale Baptist Church. I am so glad that y'all joined us for Sunday school this week, and I just want to tell you happy Easter. It's such a wonderful day to celebrate with each other. Even though we're not together personally, we are still together virtually, and I'm just so excited about that. So, guess who I have here? I have Miss Ella. Look at this dog. I don't know if you can tell because she's kind of dried a little bit. She just had a bath a little bit ago. And I don't know if you can tell. Can you see? She's shaking. She doesn't really like to have a bath. I don't know if it scares her. Maybe she's cold. I don't know. But she's just kind of not looking herself and shaking. And I'm just wondering if maybe a few of y'all this week maybe have felt that way. Felt maybe a little scared, maybe even, a little nervous, a little shaky. Of maybe if you're seeing anything about what's going on. And I just wanted to remind you of what Ella looked like last week. Okay, last week, you remember how she was all cute and fluffy and she wasn't shaking and she was very happy? Well, I'm going to tell you that once Ella has gone through the process of having the bath and once her fur has dried and she kind of gets over that, she's pretty much back to herself. Okay, and so I just wanted to maybe make that analogy with the dog of kind of like us right now. We kind of feel like maybe we've been through a process of something and we're a little maybe shaky or maybe a little scared, and but there is a light at the end of this tunnel, and I'm having to tell myself that too, is that this is going to pass. Okay, it may be a while and a little bit longer than what we're normally having to wait on something, but it is going to pass, and life will get back to a new normal. It may not be exactly the same, but it is going to get back to where we won't feel quite as unsettled and maybe afraid as we do right now. Okay, so you just hold tight to Jesus. And if you're scared, you hold tight to the adult that you have next to you or with you or in your house. I'm sure that they will be more than happy to give you a hug. So anyway, our lesson this week, of course, because it's Easter, is on the crucifixion and the resurrection. Okay, and it is going to be based out of Matthew 26:36 through 28:10. Okay. All right, so again, in the comments or in a separate post on our page, we are going to have some things to go with this lesson. We're going to have some daily Bible reading, just some different things that for you parents that y'all can work with the kids. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on our lesson. Ella, she left me. Are you not going to come and be in the lesson? Come here. Y'all, I don't know about that dog. Okay. Jesus took his disciples to the Garden of Gethsemane. Ooh, remember, we talked about that last week. He knew that he was about, or no, we didn't talk about that last week. That was in a different video. Sorry. He knew that he was about to die. The disciples fell asleep, but Jesus prayed, "Father, please let this pass from me. But not my will, but your will be done." He woke the disciples and said, "Get up, my betrayer is coming." Okay, so I don't know, some of y'all may have heard about Jesus dying on the cross, and what this is talking about is Jesus had went into this like garden area, and Jesus knew this didn't catch him by surprise. He knew what was going on and what was fixing to happen, and he was very upset, and so he was praying and very upset. Okay, so suddenly Judas arrived. A large crowd carrying swords and clubs was with him. Judas kissed Jesus so the crowd would know who Jesus was. The men grabbed Jesus and arrested him. Okay, so Judas was actually one of the original 12 disciples. He was Jesus's friend, and he betrayed Jesus. Okay, he went and he kissed Jesus, not because he wanted, that's how the men greeted each other, with a kiss on their cheeks like this, and he didn't do it because he was like, "Oh, hi friend, I want to greet you," kind of like we would say hi or shake your hand. He was doing it because that was the signal to the people that he brought with him that this is the one that you're going to arrest. So he was betraying him. I can't imagine how Jesus felt about that. That would make me very sad. But Jesus still treated Judas with love before that, even whenever he knew, because that's how amazing Jesus is. Okay. So Jesus was taken to the high priest, Caiaphas, who accused Jesus of claiming to be God, a crime deserving death. The leaders mocked Jesus and witnesses told lies about him, and the crowd beat him. Peter, one of Jesus's disciples, waited outside. "You were with Jesus," some of the people said. 3 times Peter said that he did not know Jesus. Okay, so Peter was also one of Jesus's disciples, okay? He was very close to Jesus, and Jesus had told him before this, "You are going to betray me 3 times, you're going to deny me 3 times before the rooster crows." And Peter was like, "Oh, not me, God." And Peter really did love the Lord. I don't think he really wanted to, but whenever this happened and they arrested Jesus, Peter was really scared, okay? And so in his being so frightened, he was like, "Oh, I don't know him. And he did that 3 times, just like Jesus said. And he just felt so bad about it. But, when we get scared, sometimes we do things that maybe we normally wouldn't do. But fear sometimes drives us to do things that, we probably shouldn't. So that's why we need to take our fear to Jesus before we let that happen. Okay, so where was I? Okay, the leaders sent Jesus to Pilate, the governor. Pilate could not find that Jesus had done anything wrong. So Pilate offered the people a choice: set Jesus free or free Barabbas, a well-known criminal. The people cried to feed Barabbas. And when Pilate asked the crowd what to do with Jesus, they shouted, "Crucify him." Okay, so this is all happening in Jerusalem. And do you remember last week in our lesson how it was where all the crowd, they were all happy and they were, even putting their coats down on the dirty ground just so Jesus could walk on it. I'm not saying that everyone that was screaming this were the same people, but I just have to think maybe that it was some of the same people from last week that were cheering Jesus on and just so happy that now, because the crowd around them, they were angry, they were willing to release a well-known criminal. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if a criminal is well-known, that must mean that he did something pretty good for everybody to kind of know about it, because I don't know, even here in my local jail, I don't know everybody in that local jail. But if somebody does something pretty bad, you're more than likely maybe going to hear about it. "Oh my gosh, did you hear who was at the jail? So-and-so, he did this. It was so horrible." And then it's so bad that as humans, we just want to tell somebody else, "Oh my gosh, do you know what I just heard about somebody that's in our jail?" So I'm thinking he must have done something pretty bad. I don't know if he was a murderer. I haven't really, should have maybe read that, but I don't know what he did. I'm just saying it was probably pretty bad. And so they were willing to say Jesus, who hadn't done anything but say that he was the Son of Man, they were willing to crucify him but let this other guy go. Because in their minds, the Jews, they took their religion very seriously, which, it's not wrong to take your religion very seriously, but their religion was their religion to some of them. They were to the letter of the law and didn't have very much of a spirit of openness towards Jesus when he came. Okay, so Pilate agreed to put Jesus to death. Soldiers beat Jesus, and they put a robe on him and placed a crown of sharp thorns on his head. Okay, so the reason why they were doing that is they were mocking him. Jesus had said that he was the king and that he was the Son of God, and so they weren't being nice, putting a robe on him. They were mocking him, saying, "Here's your robe, here's your crown," and that hurt. It had thorns on it, and it hurt when it went down on his head, and so they were being very cruel. Okay, so they nailed Jesus to a cross. From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness covered the land. Jesus cried out to God before he died, and suddenly there was an earthquake. One of the men near the cross said, "This man really was God's son." Okay, so while he was on the cross, it was dark. Like, that means the sun was not shining. That you can't make that happen. So I bet the people who had put him on that cross, I mean, they were mocking him. They were, putting the crown, as I had told you about how it hurt. Some of those same people, when they saw that it was dark during those hours that Jesus was on the cross, and when Jesus released his spirit, then there was an earthquake. I mean, they were like, oh my gosh, this truly was the Son of Man. So from the instant that Jesus died, he already had followers, people that were believing that he died on the cross just instantly. Okay, so let's see. Jesus was buried in a rich man's tomb. A stone was sealed in front of the tomb, and the men stood guard so that no one could steal Jesus's body. On the third day, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to the tomb. Suddenly a strong earthquake shook, and an angel came down from heaven and rolled back the stone from the tomb. The angel said, "Don't be afraid. I know you are looking for Jesus. He is not here. He has risen just as he promised." Okay, so Jesus had told everyone that he was going to rise again, but I don't think they really quite understood what that meant. But I think it's really neat here that the first people that that the angel revealed that Jesus had risen from the dead were women. I mean, because back then in this society, women weren't always listened to, but Jesus somehow always uses the most unlikely people to deliver his message and to do things for him. That's probably why I'm here, because I'm a very unlikely person even to be doing this. So, excuse me. As the women ran to tell the disciples the good news, they heard a man say, "Good morning." It was Jesus. Oh my gosh. The women knelt and worshiped him. Jesus told them, "Don't be afraid. Go and tell the disciples to go to Galilee, and they will see me there." Okay, so Jesus presented himself to the women. And what was the very first thing that he said? The very first thing that he said was, "Don't be afraid." Okay, because Jesus knows exactly how we are. And he knows that that's maybe their first emotion is to be afraid. Okay, but he didn't say, "Oh my gosh, you're so dumb for being afraid. Why are you just being that way?" No, that's not what he said. He said, "Don't be afraid. Go and tell the disciples." So he wasn't getting on to them. He was just comforting them, being kind, okay? All right, so this, our weekly Bible verse this week is 1 John 4:10, okay? And again, we went over the unit Bible verse last week, but it is, again, John 14:6, okay? And it's, Jesus said unto him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me," okay? All right, so, Jesus died to pay the penalty for our sins, past, present, and future. Ella, I am trying to do a lesson here. Come here. She's whining. She wants out of this closet. You're just going to have to wait, okay? Because I'm talking to the kids here. Okay, can you wait a minute? All right. So Jesus died to pay the penalty for my sins, past, present, and future. Come here. Come here. She is getting on my nerves, y'all. Come here. Tell these kids, say, "I'm sorry for interrupting the lesson." Can you tell them? No? You are not being very cool. Oh, okay. I forgive you. I forgive you, Ella. Anyway, that is a comfort to me that Jesus has forgiven my sins, because I mean, I wish I could say that I was sinless, but I'm not. Jesus is the only one that has walked the earth that is sinless. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this lesson. Have a good Easter. Just because we're not able to see each other right now does not mean that we can't enjoy our Easter Sunday. And I hope that y'all have a blessed day. Okay, and remember that we will see each other again soon, okay? Every week that goes by is a week that's closer to where we can be together. And also, I want to say hello to our Kenyan friends, because this video will be going to Kenya for Sunday school for their kids as well. So I just want to say, Jumbo, Nina Kupenda, Sana. Not quite sure what I said, but I think it was I love you. And I also want to say, habari, mimi, oh, I should have practiced this. Habari, mimi, nimindi, nina, fuhaba kuku tonona wewe. Don't laugh. Okay, I know that was probably really bad, but hello, Kenya. And y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.